while Joe Biden was considering Gretchen Whitmer to be the vice presidential nominee for the Democratic Party, there were 6 to 13 plotters who were thinking about kidnapping her and taking on the Michigan state government, taking down the Michigan state government. I've got joining me right now is Lieutenant Governor of Michigan, Garlin Gilchrist. You've seen him here before, but I want to talk to Garlin today about what is really happening in the state and to get an update from him. Garlin, first of all, thank you for being here. How are you? How's your family? How are you guys feeling about where we are right now?
Jamal, thanks for having me, and thank you for asking. My family's doing well. My wife and children, the governor's family, we're all doing well. I was with her yesterday, and so we continue to be resolved in the face of these terrorist gang members who plotted to not only kidnap and kill her, but they threatened to storm the Capitol. And what's really disturbing, frankly, is these 13 men were apprehended, and 2 of them I recognize. I saw these men with my own eyes in the Capitol of the state of Michigan with guns, with long guns in the Senate gallery. I saw them and they were there and they could have done harm on that day a few months ago. So it really speaks to how real this threat is.
Yeah, you know, that's a really great point. I'm glad you circled to that because we all watched this with some level of horror and amazement. First of all, that you could even bring what looked like almost automatic weapons. I know everybody gets particular about this, but semi-automatic weapons, long guns, into the state capitol. It seems like that would be a place where you are not able to bring that kind of artillery. But in Michigan, you can.
Well, the sad part about it is, yeah, most government buildings you can't, federal or state, but the Michigan State Capitol is one of only 2 Capitol buildings in the country where you're allowed to bring those kinds of guns. And really, that creates the space for these kind of terrorists, these kind of, people with ill intentions to come in and overthrow the government and storm the Capitol. They wanted to recruit 200 people, and they actually met with one another to help plan this during one of those gun rallies that happened earlier this year. And what even sickens me more is that the Republicans in Michigan, the Republican Senate Majority Leader, met with militia groups in the gallery who were there and armed to the teeth. It's disgusting. And this shows that they've been creating the space for these people to act in this way, and they need to be reprimanded for that.
Have you guys heard from these Republican leaders since this story has become public? Have they reached out to the governor in your office?
Well, nobody's reached out to me because I don't know that they actually care that much. I mean, I can't speak for what they've done for the governor. The Senate Majority Leader made a nice rosy statement on the Senate floor and then literally marched outside to a Trump rally and basically told people to keep up the good work. It is absolutely appalling, but there's action that can be taken. Those same Republican leaders who claim that they don't want to see this in our culture, they can ban guns from the state capitol. They can do that today. They have the power and authority to do that through legislation, but they have chosen not to do that because they're okay with this stuff, and it's really bad.
So here's what's, obviously there are a lot of things here that are outrageous, but if we talk about the politics of this, Gretchen Whitmer is sort of the living, walking, breathing embodiment of the voter that Donald Trump needs to try to swing back to his case. And here we have the president of the United States yesterday taking on the governor in the wake of a crisis where people have come for her. He's still not willing to be the bigger man. He's always sort of the smaller man. You talked about this a little bit. I mean, what's your thinking about the role that President Trump has played in this entire crisis?
The president, he will always make the wrong choice for the American people. In a time when you would expect people to do the thing that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did. They called Gretchen Whitmer and just to say, how are you doing? Are you okay? And said Donald Trump and his minions went on television and went on Twitter and attacked her further. You know what that does? It creates the space. It gives the green light for more people to launch more attacks. It really just shows you how detached he is from the reality that he has created. And so, no, I think that he has created the rhetorical space for this kind of domestic terrorist gang activity to continue across the country because this was a multi-state effort. They had a planning meeting in Ohio. One of the guys was arrested in Delaware. This is a national thing. And that's why I'm so thankful that the federal law enforcement professionals worked with our Michigan State Police and other law enforcement professionals. Our Attorney General, Dana Nessel, really stepped up and stood tall for people. And they are to be commended because the leadership of the federal government, the president, the Attorney General, it seemed that they just really couldn't care less and actually want to see these terrible things happen.
Are you guys concerned about any more violence leading up to Election Day?
Well, without getting into any of the specifics of the ongoing investigatory activity, there are being measures taken to continue to protect not just the health and safety of Michiganders and of lawmakers, but the integrity of the election itself. The president has been for months sowing seeds of doubt in the legitimacy of the democratic process itself. That is so dangerous and destructive. And it really just demonstrates why he is unfit to serve us as president going forward, and why everyone must vote. And the way that we can beat these cheaters, these terrorists, these gang members is by voting like we've never voted before. And if the election is a blowout, then they can't cheat.
You know, one of the things in the last debate, one of the topics was supposed to be race and violence in the cities. Now we know that topic was not the kind of violence that we're thinking about. Do you think this kind of white extremist, white nationalist terrorism, should that be a topic in the next round of presidential debates if we have some?
Yes, and don't just take my word for it. Take the FBI's word for it. They have said on the record that this kind of activity by these white supremacists, these racist, misogynist, bigoted terrorists, that their activity has increased because they've been emboldened by the cultural space that's been created for them by the president. So yeah, we need to talk about that, and what all of our leaders, elected, appointed, community leaders, we all have a role to play in tamping this down. And we're certainly doing our part and always will. The president, however, has made a different choice.
You just mentioned a word that I'm going to circle back to real quick, misogynist. Some of the attacks on the governor have been about her being a woman. Is that something that you guys have been paying attention to in terms of how people have been interpreting the rules and how she's been playing her role as governor?
Absolutely. I think there are certainly people in the state of Michigan, the country, who have a problem with a powerful and decisive and intelligent woman doing what the people of Michigan elected her to do, which was to protect and promote public health and public safety. You know, people frankly have been challenged by the fact that we have the most diverse leadership team in the history of the state of Michigan. Gretchen Whitmer, the second woman elected to this office. I'm the highest ranking Black person ever to be elected in the history of our state. And having a woman and a Black man at the helm of our state, some people find that problematic. And those are the kinds of people who want to do violent things against our government.
I got to tell you, somebody who grew up there, when I started hearing the list of cities that were coming off the where people were meeting and where some of the plotting was taking place, it reminded me when I was a young man and I would come back home and I want to go up to Michigan State and see friends or something. And my dad would say to me, get gas in Detroit, don't stop between Detroit and Lansing, and drive during the daytime, because we knew basically between Detroit and Lansing was some of the most treacherous territory for an African American. I mean, this is the early '90s, and apparently it's still true.
Well, look, I live in Detroit. I'm speaking with you from my home in Detroit right now, and I do that drive every day to go preside over the Michigan State Senate. And I do it not out of fear, but out of fortitude. It's because we have a job to do for the people of Michigan, and I trust that law enforcement professionals are going to do their job as they always have, but that this is the kind of culture that we need to be back. And I think that we can. I think that we've seen an overwhelming outpouring of support and encouragement for the governor, for our administration. Big Gretch was trending on Twitter last night, and people were saying, don't y'all lay a finger on that woman's hair, or, et cetera. So I think it just shows you that the people of Michigan have overwhelmingly supported the actions that we've taken in the face of this pandemic. And let me just show you how petty this is. One of these men said that he was mad because he couldn't go to the gym. I mean, let's just think about that for a minute. He wanted to kidnap at gunpoint the governor of Michigan, wanted to take her, torture her, and murder her, wanted to blow up a bridge to divert law enforcement from being able to follow them, wanted to murder law enforcement professionals, and wanted to storm the Capitol and take over and hold hostages. I mean, this is so petty and small, but we, I believe, have bigger ideals to shoot for in Michigan and in the country.
All right, so let me ask you this last question. What do you think is a bigger threat that we should be concerned about? Black Lives Matter protesters or some of these right-wing extremist groups?
The plot that was revealed yesterday speaks for itself. We need to be concerned about these extremists, terrorists, racist, bigoted, misogynist gang members who have plotted to do specific and real violence. And those are the ones who are the threats to our democracy. And those are the ones that I'm thankful that law enforcement has been focused on, despite the leadership of the president and the attorney general.
All right, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. And I want, seriously, be safe, take care of that family. Tell Gretchen Whitmer that we're all standing with her, because for you, it's not just a news story. You guys have become friends. Your family is a part of the community of leadership in this state. So I really want you guys to take care of yourselves.
Thank you, Jamal. I appreciate that. And I'll pass that on. Everyone take care.
All right, take care. Thanks.